Afande, ungetumia hautatumia. Umefunga. Oh, Ramadan. Utaisha kesho. Ndakupigia sababu Dar es Salaam. Uko Dar es Salaam napigia afande.
Leo bwana mambo safi.
Jege kabisa. Mwezi Ramadhani itaisha kesho. Kesho nitakula pilau.
Well, today, the 28th of March 2025, there has been a rather one-of-a-kind meeting happening in Goma at Serena Hotel. And I am talking about the two warring sides that have been fighting in Eastern DRC in a meeting that was unforeseen just a few months ago. This is the M23 and the SAMI DRC military chiefs. They shared a table and discussed about the SAMI DRC withdrawal from Eastern DRC. Well, that is the story that I'm going to tell you in this video. I'm going to tell you about what they discussed and the resolutions that came from that particular meeting. As well as in this video, I am going to discuss about the blame game that is ongoing between the M23 and the FARDC in different fronts, even as the talk of ceasefire continues from both sides. Well, this is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on the DRC crisis, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, in an unforeseen circumstance, there has been a meeting between the M23 chiefs and the SAMI DRC military chiefs in Goma at Serena Hotel. Now, this meeting is coming after the resolution by the SADC nations to withdraw from Eastern DRC, and this came after the losses that the SAMI DRC encountered in Eastern DRC while they were fighting the M23. Well, the SAMI DRC went into the DRC to assist the FARDC to fight the insurgencies in Eastern DRC. That has since not been very much successful and onto the side of the SAMI DRC troops, because South Africa alone lost 14 of its members fighting the M23. And that is the reason as to why these two warring sides came at a table to discuss their withdrawal in Eastern DRC. It is also important to note that until today, there are troops of the SAMI DRC that are surrounded by the M23 in Goma, and that totals to about 1,000 to 2,000 troops that have been surrounded by the M23 in Goma, and they don't have a way out. That is the reason as to why the SAMI DRC had to discuss on their withdrawal from Goma, because the entire territory in Goma is controlled by the M23. Now, in a meeting that was held at Serena Hotel in Goma, the two parties agreed that the AFC M23 will facilitate the immediate withdrawal of SAMI DRC troops with their weapons and equipment, leaving behind all the FARDC weapons and equipment in their possession. The AFC M23 will also coordinate SAMI DRC freedom of movement in preparation for withdrawal in accordance with the principles agreed upon. Both parties will facilitate the joint technical team assessment of the status of Goma International Airport in readiness for reopening. SADC will assist in the repair of Goma International Airport to facilitate SAMI DRC withdrawal, and lastly, that they will hold a joint follow-up meeting between SADC and M23 at a venue and dates to be agreed upon. So these are the agreements that came out of this meeting that the SAMI DRC and M23 had in Goma today. And perhaps one agreement that will greatly be highlighted is the first agreement that the AFC M23 will facilitate the immediate withdrawal of SAMI DRC troops with their weapons and equipment, leaving behind all the FARDC weapons and equipment in their possession. That is the agreement that will carry a lot of weight in all these discussions, because it means that all the FARDC equipment that are now in the possession of SAMI DRC are going to be in possession of the M23. but all the equipment and weapons that belong to SAMI DRC will be allowed to leave Goma. Now we can see that the M23 managed to bargain that the FARDC weapons should remain in their custody, and this will add to the weapons and equipment that they already have from different parts of Eastern DRC as they went on to capture territories in North Kivu and South Kivu. And it seems there are troops, of course, troops from Tanzania can use the Kigali airport, they can use the Rwandan route to go back to their country. But there are troops that will leave from the Goma airport back to their countries, and we can see that there is an agreement between the M23 and the SAMI DRC troops that they will go and have a look at Goma International Airport that is war-ridden. It has been really damaged by the war that happened in Eastern DRC between the M23 and the FARDC. But right now, we can see the SAMI DRC saying that we are ready to go to Goma International Airport to see the status of the airport, to try as much as possible to return it to a working condition so that we can use this airport to leave the DRC and take our troops back home. Perhaps that is a South African lot that doesn't want to go all the way to Kigali International Airport, that they will leave from Goma International Airport to go back to their country as it was mandated by the presidents of SADC. Now, even as these two sides are meeting to discuss about the withdrawal of the SAMI DRC, it is important to note that ceasefire has not been held by both parties in different parts of Eastern DRC. I'm talking about Walikale, I'm talking about South Kivu, where there are different fronts by the M23 and the FARDC in fighting. There have been blame games by both parties. One party is saying that these are the people who are the aggressors. The other party is saying that these are the people who aggressed us. But on paper, they are saying that there is a ceasefire. But when you go to the ground, when you hear what people are saying on the ground, fighting is still continuing, especially in Walikale, where the FARDC is accused of bombing different parts of Walikale. And there is a statement by the M23 saying that the FARDC injured even people who are giving medical assistance to the people living in Walikale. And the FARDC is also saying that the M23 is the aggressor. They are saying that the M23 is continuing to fight in Walikale despite them saying that there is a ceasefire. Well, we know that the M23 was invited to Doha to discuss about the issues that they are facing in Eastern DRC and to see if there can be a possible solution, because the president of Rwanda and the president of DRC met in Doha and they discussed the issues in Eastern DRC. They say that there should be a ceasefire, but that ceasefire has not yet been achieved. And we are seeing now the leadership of the M23 also going to Doha to discuss about the issues in Eastern DRC. Qatar is coming in as a chief mediator in something that has not been seen perhaps in African countries. President Kagame and President Tshisekedi were not seeing eye to eye, and they did not meet recently either in the Luanda process or the Nairobi process, but we are seeing them listening to the call that is coming from Qatar, which is something that Africans should ponder on. Why aren't they taking the processes that are happening here in Africa, and why aren't they meeting in African countries? Perhaps this is a way of these two sides saying that this particular country is going with this party and this particular country is compromised and this process is favoring this party. And perhaps that is the reason as to why they are choosing Qatar to go to Qatar and meeting the head of the country to discuss about African issues that they are facing here. Well, I will keep you informed of the latest of what is happening with the SAMI DRC as well as the M23 and the recent happenings of what is happening in Walikale as well as South Kivu. Keep it bona fide.